everybody, my name is CLICHE and welcome back to Miscat Squad. As you guys know, on this channel, I am also considered foster mama cat. And if you played Life is Strange with me, if you experienced that game with me, you guys know why I am considered foster mama cat. When we played Life is Strange, I kind of like considered the characters my children, and I wanted to take care of them. I wanted to tell them that everything was okay. Today we're going to be very positive about this and bring some positivity to this fandom, because that is what it also deserves, and talk about the top 10 reasons. I did 5, so the top 10, there you go, the top 10 reasons to love Chloe Price. Our baby Chloe Price. Number 10. So as we all know, Chloe is a very reckless youth. She is a young adult who is like a rebel. She is a punk, and she's always on the go, just saying like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do it my way, you like it or not. And that shows that she is, again, she's a very angsty teen, and we all go through that stage. I went through that stage. Everyone goes through that stage. The reason I love Chloe is because number 10 is definitely gonna be because she is misunderstood. Any type of fiction that we see these types of characters, there's a reason that they act the way they do. And Chloe's character, she's way misunderstood than a lot of other characters in the series. Just like Nathan Prescott, he's totally misunderstood. When you lose someone that important to you, you do the only thing that is possible to save you. You do the only thing to calm you down is you make this persona for yourself. You become this person who would kind of protect you, and you wear like a mask. Because Chloe wears that mask as being punk and being a rebel, she's misunderstood. And when you're misunderstood, that means you are crying for help. Number 9. So Chloe, as we know, is a very loyal friend. And an example of that would not just be because of Max, but because of Rachel. We all know that there's something happened between her and Rachel. It could either be, you can view it as a friendship standpoint, as an idol standpoint, as an angel standpoint, as someone who saved her, as being her savior, or you can even view it and they were in a romantic relationship together. Because there are hints that Chloe and Rachel were in that romantic relationship together, and I like to view it as that because it kind of develops Chloe's character in the past to who she is now. Anyway, as we notice, she's so loyal. She's so loyal to Rachel. She was the one who put all those missing persons flyers everywhere. She scattered them around. She went around town. She spent her time being like one of the only people who truly cared about Rachel more than Rachel's parents. She actually cared to find this girl. And she went around town, she hammered them on like telephone poles, she hammered them on like walls, she scattered them around the schoolyard, she put them in the school. She went back to Blackwell Academy, where she can't stand to be. She's in that hellhole, as she would consider it. She went back there just to put the flyers. That is loyal right there. Going back to somewhere that you hate, doing something that you hate for the good of somebody else, to find that person, to love that person, to do something for someone else, to sacrifice your own angst with that place, that shows a lot. She hates Victoria Chase, she hates Nathan Prescott, and she went there for Rachel's sake. But not only that, she never gave up on Max. She would wait around with Max. She wrote letters to Max. She wanted Max to come back, and she accepted her right away. Now, okay, let me ask you this. Now, Max was wrong, like, in a way. Max was wrong. We all know Max is insecure, but Max is not perfect. When people say that Max is perfect and Max doesn't have flaws, that's wrong, because every character in this series, every single character in Life is Strange shows some kind of flaw. Max left Chloe. What happened? She spiraled into another depression. She lost William, she lost Max, she lost basically everything in her life. And Max was wrong to do that. She still should have stayed in contact with Chloe. And Max made up excuses where she, oh, you know, I got busy, I got this. But there is still time to stay in touch with your old friends. There's still time for that. And she kind of blew her off. And we see that over time, Max kind of regrets that. Max blames herself for whatever happened to Chloe. And that makes it even more relatable. That makes it even more in reality. But Chloe accepted her. She was still angry. She still brought it up. Like, I still remember those moments that I was like, ooh, it's like when you left. It's like, ooh, that's just shot through the heart right there, and you're to blame. You give love a bad name. She accepted Max. No matter how she left, no matter what she didn't have to do that. Like, Chloe did not have to accept Max. And another thing that makes her loyal is how she never gave up on Rachel. Everybody started giving up. Everybody started giving up. Even Max at times was like, we're not gonna find her. And Chloe, against all odds, went out there and she tried to find her. She tried to find this girl who saved her life, and she wanted to return the favor, and when she couldn't, that hurt. That you have no idea. Everyone in Chloe's life, William, Max, Rachel, everything was taken from her. And when something is taken from you that you love so much, and you lose it, you lose yourself. You lose parts of yourself. You cannot bring that back, because when you make those connections and those bonds with people, and you feel like they're family, and you are truly, truly part of their life, and they are taken away from you, you become a different person. You lose part of yourself, because that part is the part they made who you are. Rachel made a part of Chloe. Chloe became the person, the persona that she made because Rachel made it that way. She kind of clung to Rachel, like Rachel was her security blanket. And when she was taken away, that scene in the junkyard, when she finds Rachel's body, if you notice, she basically tucks herself in like this. Like, she basically tucks herself in like this. Like, she hugs her knees into her chest, and she's like this. Now, there's a lot of work that went into this game, as we know. But if you guys know what this means, it's kind of like going into fetal position. It's kind of like when people do this, they're shrinking themselves away from reality. They're hiding. They're going like this because they don't, number one, they don't want people to see them. But they're also just shrinking and saying like they have nothing left. They have nowhere to be. They have nowhere to belong anymore. So they're like shrinking into this little ball, just being like, it's kind of like a defense mechanism. You just go like this when you're upset or you're just hurt. And when Chloe did that, she lost her, like, part of her soul. She lost part of her heart. She lost something that was so precious to her. So she had to go into that little fetal position. She had to rock back and forth because she didn't know where else to be. She didn't know who she was anymore. She lost that part of herself. And that scene is just so powerful because she couldn't save Rachel. Rachel saved her, but she couldn't return the favor. And that crushes me. Like, that seriously just crushes me. And I don't know how you guys view that scene, but when I saw it, why I got so emotional about it and was crying hysterically was because she went into that fetal position. She held on to, like, it's kind of like she was holding on to what was left of her. And it was kind of like, don't take anything else away from me. Don't take what is precious away from me anymore. And she couldn't hold on to something that was so important to her, which was Rachel. And she was scared. In that scene, it was as if she became a child again and cried. And when people do that, it kind of resembles being a child when you go into that fetal position. And she cried. And she felt helpless. And when you feel helpless, that's it. You lose part of yourself. So, anyway, before I get completely emotional about this, number 9 is definitely, she is so loyal to both Rachel and Max and anybody that is part of her life. So number 8 is definitely, Chloe is not afraid to stand up for what she believes in. Now, an example would be whenever she gets in these types of arguments with David. Now, I was talking about this before. Now, I truly believe that both David and Chloe suffer from some form of PTSD. And why Chloe is because she went through, like, PTSD doesn't just mean with military people. It doesn't just mean in, like, the forces of that. It actually also means if you go through a complete and utter life-changing traumatic event. And why I think Chloe suffers from that is because she literally, guys, she saw William get killed. She saw him die. If you see someone that you love die right in front of your eyes in such a traumatic event as a car crash, you're obviously going to be scarred for life. So that's one of the reasons why I think she suffers from some kind of form of it. Another would be because we know that Chloe and Rachel went through a hella ton of crap together. They went through a hella ton of crap together that a lot of teenagers should not go through. Another reason is because she is a teenager. And when you go through that trauma, when you go through that scary, life-changing event where there could be explosions, there could be anything that we don't know that they went through together, you're gonna be scarred. You're gonna be scarred. But why I'm talking about this is because we obviously know David suffers from that because he was in the military and he sees some scary crap. Like, when you're in the military, you see some scary crap. So I think that's a huge parallel between their characters because why they clash is because they're very similar. Chloe, like David, she's not afraid to express herself. Let's say you talk about politics, you're gonna clash because if you have the same personality where you fight for what you believe in, there's no end to your arguments. There's gonna be no end. And the only person who's able, not even Max isn't able to stop these arguments, is Joyce. Joyce is the only one. She's the voice of reason between these two. But Chloe is not afraid to stand up for what she believes in. She's not afraid to speak her mind, and that's something that we should really take in respect to her, because a lot of people are really afraid to state their honest opinions. I know I was at first. When I started YouTube, I was really afraid to be as complete honest as I wanted to be, but now I'm just gonna obviously just state whatever I feel about anything, because it's honesty, and honesty is the best policy, and Chloe's that type of person. She's honest, she's blunt, and Chloe will get in your face if you're, like, arguing with her what she believes in, and that's something that a lot of people should have. Like, everyone has a right to stand up for what they believe in. Everyone has a right to stand up for themselves, for their friends, for a cause, and Chloe's that person. If you ever get into a situation where you can't stand up for yourself, take Chloe for an example. Like, she is the perfect example for you, and if you feel as if you really want to stand up and you want to just speak your mind, do it, because it's your right. Everyone has a right to do that, and even if some people don't agree with you, sometimes you could come to, like, you agree to disagree, and that's sometimes fine too, because, you know, it's like not everyone in this world is going to agree with you, not everyone in this world is going to disagree with you, so there's always different sides, and I'm totally fine with that, because that's what makes humans humans, and that's what makes us so interesting, because we all have different opinions, and that's why diversity is so important, because it's like, hey, like, everyone has a voice, everyone has the right to see themselves in works of fiction. Chloe is fearless. Now, I'm not gonna say she's completely fearless. Yes, Chloe has fears. We all know Chloe has fears. She feared losing Rachel. Like, that was her biggest fear throughout the game. She feared of being, like, alone. She kind of feared of losing someone else that she loved. And when you look back at that, when you look back at certain scenes, we all know that Chloe does have these fears. But the difference between her and Max is Chloe doesn't let her fears guide her. Chloe doesn't let her fears get in the way to what she wants. So we all know that Chloe is a kid at heart. And that's something that you should love her for. It's like, not a kid at heart as being immature. Yes, Chloe has immaturities. Yes, she has to grow up on certain terms. But Chloe is a kid at heart. Why? Because she's still open to having fun, and she's still open to having these types of adventures. Some of those adventures that she does go on are just way too, you know, it's sensitive to your heart. And it makes you feel as if you want to scream and cry, because you just want this poor girl to be safe. You want to feel left, you want her to be home, and you want her just to live. And every type of situation she got into with these adventures, she ended up almost dying. Now, Chloe is one of the most reckless characters I know in gaming fiction. Like, she is that person that will take that risk, and if she dies, she'll die. And it's something that even Max is like, Chloe, my heart can't handle this. And we, as the people who play the game, we feel as if we're part of that game and we're going on this adventure with them. We're like, girl, what are you freaking doing? Are you nuts? Chloe, you know, she's a teenager, and she's 18, and she's getting older. And that's something a lot of people forget. It's like, when they feel, when you reach your 20s, it's like, that's when the fun stops. And it's like, no, you could still play video games. What? Like, who said you can't? Chloe is definitely, like, she may be a young adult, like, she's a teenager, and then she may be getting towards the young adult age, but she's not afraid to really just say, hey, I'm gonna go out and have fun. She's like, I'm not afraid that I'm just gonna still be like this kid at heart. And you see it, like, when she's dancing, when she's doing all those crazy things, the way she talks sometimes, it's all about having fun. And sometimes it's bad because she doesn't have, like, any of these types of responsibilities, but sometimes it's good because sometimes it's like when you have too much responsibilities, or you act too, like, stingy or too adult-like, you miss out on a lot of things. You miss out on a lot of things, and you kind of ruin your life, because there should be, like, a happy medium. Now, this is a big one for me. Why? Because Joyce, my girl Joyce really does remind me of my own mother, because I said this before, but my own mother is a very hardworking woman. Like, she would never abandon any of us. She is always all about her kids, and that's how Joyce is. Like, Chloe gives her a lot of problems. Like, we all know Chloe gives her a lot of problems, but Joyce takes it. And that's what makes her a great mother. And I feel as if I want to make the top 10 reasons to love Joyce, because there's a lot of reasons to love Joyce. But Chloe obviously loves Joyce. She obviously loves her. And despite the fact she's like, no, Mom. Mom, leave me alone. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? She loves her. Because the way she acts around certain things, even at the end, she's like, Joyce doesn't deserve this. She's a great mother. She doesn't deserve this. Chloe is not afraid to express herself. Now, to give you an example of this is, even though Nathan Prescott is basically calling her all the names in the book that he can think of, even made up names, like what the hell ever, like that type of name. She doesn't care what he thinks. Like, she doesn't care if he calls her a punk ass. She doesn't care about any of that stuff. And it's funny because there's a lot of people who end up caring so much what people think, and Chloe will express herself even more. If I've noticed this, she will express herself even more if someone's like, hey, you can't be that way. She's like, okay, I'm gonna even make it extreme now. Considering the amount of crap that Chloe went through in her life, it's like, how people can consider her cliche, I want to know how. How do you consider her a cliche character? Because a cliche character is that character that everyone knows. Like in, let's say, in shonen manga, for example, you got the main character who's always like, hey, I'm gonna save you, or hey, I'm gonna like have like everything good's gonna happen to me in the end. Or they're Mary Sue characters where it's like they are like the creator themselves and the creator just basically writes about themselves. And I can't stand characters like that, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if you're going for those types of cliche characters for a reason, that's always fine. But Chloe, I don't know how Chloe's cliche, because Chloe went through crap that a lot of characters I don't know went through. Like, she lost her father, she lost her best friend, she lost Rachel, who was like a love interest. To have her considered as a cliche because of that, because of her past, I don't see how. Number 2 is definitely Chloe isn't perfect. As we've seen throughout this entire list, Chloe is not perfect. She is a character, again, misunderstood. She's fearless but has fears. She has flaws in herself. She has insecurities. Like, Chloe does have insecurities deep down inside. Like, we all have a certain type of insecurity, but not as bad as Max and not as bad as Victoria. So, she's not perfect. Her life is, she lived a broken life. She had a good childhood, but then in her teenhood, going into adulthood, she has a broken life, and she's living that broken life. It was relatable to not only me, but to people who do live that way. And it's something that a lot of creators should take advantage of. Like, don't make your characters perfect. Like, no matter how much you want to make your main character that badass person, like, no matter how much you want to make that your character the person who always saves the day, no matter how much you love that character, and you want them to be that character that everyone remembers, it's like, don't worry about making them too perfect, because it's like, in real life, no one's perfect. Make them have a ton of flaws. Make them have those fears. Make them have those wants and needs that they may never get. And make it hard for them. Make the adventure hard for them, just exactly like with Chloe. Number 1 is how Chloe teaches us that no matter how strange, no matter how hard, no matter how cruel your life is, we have a right to endure it together. We have a right to endure it alone, with friends, with family, with whoever we want, but we have the right to endure this strange life however we see it fit. And Chloe teaches us that. She's obviously that type of character who we see she goes through these imperfections. We see that she's misunderstood. We'll see she'll stand up for what she believes in. We'll see that she is that character who will stand up for what is right. But she also stands up for the fact that you have a right to endure everything. You have a right to stand up for what you believe and how you believe to live your life. But always know that if you're going through something, and you're going through something really bad, that there's always help for you. There's always going to be help. There's always going to be someone there for you. There's online communities you can join. There's communities in life that you can actually join. Like, go to the local communities, go to talks, go to that. And Chloe kind of teaches us that, because if she doesn't give up, if Chloe doesn't give up after all the hell she went through, that obviously means we should never give up too. So those are the top 10 reasons why I love Chloe Price. I want to know your guys' reasons why you love Chloe, why you hate Chloe, what you think could have been better about her character. Anyway guys, until the next video, embrace your inner fangirl and your inner fanboy every single day.